There's over 20 ounces of gold here, which was recovered in a period of less than a year by one man. This is the Frico gold specimen, 201 ounces of crystalline gold, which was found up in California, Northern California, up in Greenwood, which is not too far from Highway 49 up in Northern California. This is the Whopper, which was a huge gold specimen that probably stands about 14 inches high. It's also crystalline gold, and this came out of the 16-1 mine Allegheny, which is off of Highway 49 in Northern California. Each one of these nuggets was over an ounce of gold, and they were found by sniping in a local river up in Northern California. This is black sand in a gold pan, and you can see the gold mixed in there during the cleanup. There's probably about half an ounce of gold in that cleanup. It's another look at the same gold, just flattened out in the pan. But it's the gold and the black sand. This is Joe Long, and he's running the electric drywasher. It's driven by a leaf blower, there's an air ventura that it's connected to, and it sucks up the material from the ground. It's like a vacuum cleaner. And then inside of it is actually the recovery system uses electronic power supply. Another picture of Joe Long with electronic drywasher. Guy to the left is a gentleman about in his 80s, and he's been panning this river for years, and he does quite well. The guy to the right is Jack St. Dennis, which is a sniper. He just scoots along on his belly in about 12 inches of water, and he does very well. Strange looking picture is black sand, and there's a magnet underneath the bottom underside of the pan, and it was original experiments the author was doing and trying to recover gold using a magnetic field, and eventually it became Gould's law. This is a picture behind my house, looking up as the sun is coming up, and I just couldn't pass up to taking a photograph of it. It's just either rained or had rained, but I use it as a marker to separate the pictures. This is the river box, which is actually, it's a Gould gravity trap, and the unusual part is the unusual grizzly that's on the front. It discharges on either side. You just shovel into it. Instead of it getting in your way of the water, the material is discharged on either side. It's another picture of the Gould gravity trap, and this is way up high, probably almost 100 feet from the river, and we're looking for gold in between the rocks during the winter time. The river rises 15 to 20 feet, and a lot of gold is deposited in amongst the rocks which we're working. This was the original design of the Gould gravity trap, and in its operating position, the top part is a spray bar connected up to a water source. You shovel into there. There's actually a grizzly built into it. The grizzly moves to the right down to that slick plate, and that drops into the gravity trap separator, and then that goes into a compartment, comes out on either side into those little channels, which we call poop tube, and that's where the actual cleanup goes, and that's where your gold's recovered. This is a top view looking at the high capacity sluice box, which was intended to be in a mining operation where you're feeding it large amounts of material. Of course, the nuggets stay in between the tubes. The gold drops in through those slots, and there's poop tube inside of each one. So when you do a cleanup, you just pull out the thing, rinse it in a bucket, and your cleanup is done. That's the inside shot of an experimental suction nozzle. I call it the Tri-Jet. There's 3 individual jets. I think this was a 4-inch suction nozzle, a Gould Bazooka designed by Gould Engineering. It's a picture of the Tri-Jet suction nozzle, and that's Mr. Ford, Chuck Ford, holding that, and he is a graduate from the Mackey School of Mines in Reno, Nevada. Another picture of the gold nuggets. I think we counted 20 ounces of gold, not counting the nuggets, just the bottles of gold. That's a picture of the Gould Bazooka, and little river there. There's a pool of water there, and we were doing some testing, various testing, and beautiful place to work. We didn't get much gold in that spot, but it was a nice place to work. Just another shot of gold mixed in with black sand. This is the new Gould gravity trap, and the very unique features are there's round, I call them deaccelerator bars, and they're round, and they act like an airfoil. As the water hits it, the lighter materials go over the top and go out the end of the box. The gold, they're actually raised up almost 1/8 of an inch. The gold slides underneath. There's a slot underneath which catches the gold. They go into the bottom compartment, which you can't see, but towards the very bottom is a large piece of a 6-inch poop tube, and that collects the gold and black sand. When you do a clean out, you just slide that out of the trough and put it in a 5-gallon bucket of water, and you got it. Early model of the Gould. No, it wasn't either. That is the new gravity trap, but it has the old gravity or the sluice grizzly on top with the spray bar. We're not using the spray bar there. We're actually, yes, we are too, has a water going to it. Yeah, I guess we're using it on dry land, and so we've got water coming from the river, going through the spray bar, the grizzlies inside, the waste material goes out the back, and the gold black sand falls through the bottom into the sluice box where it's recovered. This is one of those hard to get places. This is high up on the river bank, probably 100 feet above the river, and we're going looking for gold that's been deposited there from the high water. Another shot of the Gould gravity trap. This Gould gravity trap in operation, showing the water running through, and we were probably a good 100 feet from the water. We had to get all the hose we could find to get water to where this area we wanted to work. This is the first gravity trap the author designed and built, and that's me in the picture. I was hand feeding it with buckets of materials that I'd previously gathered up, and then when I went to do the cleanup there, I just started dumping bucket after bucket. Again, this is the Gould gravity trap. It's still one of the, I guess you call it the second one from the first that I just previously showed you. This was what I call the suitcase. You can fold the thing down. I built it for a guy that did a lot of flying in an airplane. He wanted something very small. Took a lot of time to build, so decided it wasn't a worthwhile project, but I only built 2 of them. But it did work quite well. Again, another picture. This is the latest sluice box. Has the old hopper on top. I never did build the suitcase fold up for this, but it's easy enough to do. I just happen to have the old hopper from the original design, so it's just easy enough to use it. This side view, the high capacity sluice box, which I had a top view earlier in the pictures. This shows the side clean out tubes. This is where the gold drops into what I call the poop tubes that go inside those little yellow tubes on the bottom. They're half tubes, cut in half. They just slide out, and that's where your gold is deposited for an easy cleanup. Another picture of the high capacity sluice box, except I have one of the unique lost my place here where the grizzly. That's my grizzly that discharges on the side. I only built one of them, but that was another one of my R&D projects. This little experiment I was doing when I first started building the Gould gravity trap was experimenting with different flows of water. And I had the best luck at 30 gallons per minute. When I went to 60, the water would jump up probably 5 or 6 inches, and it's hard to imagine because the only little ripples I had were 1/4-inch bars, so you can only pick that up with a high-speed camera, so most people don't realize what's going on in their sluice box. But try it. Put a good camera on there, and you'll be amazed at what you're doing to that water. This old fogey is the inventor, Reggie Gould from Gould Engineering. That little pan he has in his hand there was a very unique pan. I can't remember what the name of it was, but it's probably one of the best gold pans I've ever used. Oh, another picture of the sunrise behind my house. So another separator picture, but too pretty just to sit in the storage locker. Now this looks like he's getting rid of his trash for the day. Actually, this was an experimental drywasher. I called it jokingly the trash bucket drywasher. At the very bottom there is a leaf blower. It's creating a vortex at the bottom. Of course, both buckets there are made of plastic, and it develops a static charge of electricity on there. And when he feeds the top, he's shoveling into a grizzly. It falls in there, and it's spinning round and round. As it's doing that, the static electricity holds it to the sides of the bucket. The trash, you can't see it, but it comes out in the center of it, flies out through there, and the gold drops down to the very bottom where it gets stored, and then that's where you do your cleanup. Another view of the, I think we're out of sync here. What's going on here? Okay, another view of the trash bucket drywasher, and you can see a better view of the leaf blower feeding into the sides at the very side, so it produces a vortex, a tornado inside the thing. And of course the side, there's another grizzly in there. I believe it's 1/8 inch, so it allows the gold and the nuggets to fall through there. And above the grizzly is where the discharge comes out to the left hand side, and of course it's fed from the very top. Well, this old dog is me, and what else can I say? This little critter is the blue dam bull, and I have this one I owned, and you can see the gold in the very bottom on the inside. I never could figure out how gold collects there instead of on the outside, but it works like a charm. And of course, another sunset, or sunrise I should say. I didn't put any sunsets in any of this series. This is Gould Engineering's rendition of the suction nozzle. It has quite a few differences. The main jet off that white manifold off to the right has been sized down so you can get the maximum suction with the least amount of water, so you can go to a smaller pump. That little orange hose is the rotator jet or vortex generator. That puts a spin on the water, which helps recover the gold. This is my old dredging partner, Steve Littner. This is our early days when we were developing the Gould Bazooka, and he's treading down the bank, which is a good 100 feet down, and it's amazing. On his back is about a 5 horsepower motor and pump. I don't know how he does it, but I had to use a rope to go down with. It's my late son, Reggie Gould. We're doing a test on the 5-inch Gould Bazooka. You can see the suction nozzle on the front. The middle is the dredge hose, and then the Bazooka is the white canister. In the rear, and on the very rear, that black thing is the nugget trap. This is some of our early testing we did. I believe this is a picture of Joe Long. He also has the 5-inch Bazooka, and he's a very small little creek here, probably 4 or 5 feet across, and we got some pretty good gold out of there. At the end, this is my son Reggie Gould, a little farther shot showing our dredging activity. Another shot of my son Reggie Gould, a little different location. Same thing, Gould Bazooka, built by Gould Engineering. And of course my son testing it. Another shot of my son Reggie Gould, just a little different view. Looks like 2 shots right in a row, but it's the same one of my son. This picture of my son, Reggie Gould Jr., and he's testing our rotator jet, our vortex generator. It's the first concept we had, and we built a prototype just to see if the concept worked. It worked quite well. Again, same picture of my son Reggie Gould. Same rotator jet experimental model, just a little farther view away. This picture of Joe Long, we're up close to Happy Camp, I believe. And I think he's using the 5-inch Gould Bazooka, and he's digging a hole there, looking for gold. This is Joe Long, and he's in that little small creek, and we just had a good rain, and hoping that we didn't find any nuggets, but we did find a lot of fine gold in there. The Chinese had been in there, and they took most of the nuggets out of there. Another picture of Joe Long. I believe that's the same creek, it's just in a different spot. Another picture of Joe Long, and maybe a repeat, but it's that same hole he's driving down. We're trying to get down to bedrock, because that's the deeper we went, the more gold we were getting. And it looks like it's the same spot as probably this was early, because eventually we got that hole so deep it was almost up to his shoulder. So this is probably when we first started digging the hole. This picture was sent to me by a couple guys in Alaska. That I believe that's a 4-inch bazooka, Gould Bazooka, and they had kind of an unusual operation. They were running their water probably 50 to 75 feet up to it, and they were doing like a dry land thing. They created their own little pool of water, and they were dredging out of this little pool that they had created. I believe that's Joe Long in the picture, and be honest, I don't recognize the area. I think it's the one up by Happy Camp. This picture of Joe Long and in is he's getting with it. He's starting to work on that hole, and he's getting it deeper and deeper. He worked on that thing 12 hours a day. And the picture of Joe Long, and I think he's just checking things out there. Doesn't look like he's in the water yet, so he's probably just getting ready to dredge. Another picture of Joe Long, just getting prepared to dredge. Now, to the right is my son, Reggie Gould Jr. To the left is me, Reggie Sr. And can't see who's that below me. But we're getting ready to do a cleanup. You can see the bazooka laying down in front of us, and we've got the pacer pump there with our gas, and we're just getting ready to put that over a 5-gallon bucket and take out the 3-inch plug and do a cleanup. It's a picture of my son, Reggie Gould Jr., and he's taking out the 3-inch plug. As soon as he gets that out, we'll turn the water back on, and when it runs clear, our cleanup's complete. Turn off the water, put the plug back in, we're good to go. Usually about 5-minute cleanup. Another picture of my son, Reggie Jr., and this is in Nether Creek. Can't remember when, but that was some of the early testing that we were doing. Another picture of my son, Reggie Jr. This is my son, Reggie Jr. We're up there close to Happy Camp. Now we're working on that hole. You can see now he's probably down about 4 feet. He's standing on the edge of the hole, and I guess he doesn't want to get in the hole. He's grabbing onto everything, sticking that nozzle in there without actually climbing in the hole. My son Reggie Jr. again, you can see he's looks like he's about ready to pull the dredge in there. There's 15 feet of hose, I think, on there, and it looks like almost half of it's down in that hole because he's clear up way high on the hose. There's my son Reggie Jr., and he's still at that thing. He just keeps going deeper and deeper, but he's not about to climb in that hole. I climbed in there once, and I had to get some help getting out. That's Joe Long. He's back in that little small creek again. He's not going to give up till he comes up with the sheer go. We took a lot of black sand out of there. We probably took 5 buckets of black sand, so it takes a while to go through it. Another shot of my son Reggie Jr., and I think we've got that experimental rotator jet, the vortex generator test unit we had. This is my son Reggie Jr. again, and he's still at that hole. We spent a lot of time on that hole. We spent 3 different years each working at that hole and getting it deeper. We never did hit bedrock on that thing. And this old geezer's yours truly there. This was actually a trip I went up in Sierra College. I was taking a course in hydrometallurgy and mineral identification, and they had a field trip that lasted 1 week that I signed up for. And this was one of the mines that I was exploring. Well, this is a picture of Joe Long, and he's saying, "You should have seen the one that got away. It was huge, absolutely huge." Well, this is a picture of Dale's rig, and I call it the Dale Mobile. And on the front is actually a snow blade. And he took off the blade, left the hydraulic system. He has a boom in there, which is a Gould Bazooka. This is a 6-inch. And on the front, you can see he's got mat tracks, so it turns it into a crawler. And he was actually driving this thing on the river, and there's a camera on the front with a little TV inside, so he could dredge without getting out of his truck. Very unusual idea. Another picture of the Dale Mobile. You can see the Gould Bazooka there in the front, hanging on off the boom. And length of hose, I guess their Bazooka, you can't see it very well, it's in the snow there, but I think this is up in Alaska, way up in Alaska. Another picture of the Dale Mobile, and this is the rear end. You can see the mat tracks a little better. He's got a diesel pump in there, all of his equipment's in the he's hauling it down to the river where he's going to be dredging. This is a little field testing I was doing when I first got into this. I bought commercial nozzles from the original one that, what do they call that thing? I don't know. Anyway, I bought one of everything, and I started doing testing on to see what their efficiency was. and how much water would run it, what the section was. I had all the instrumentation equipment where I could do the measurements. This thing is actually the rear end of an infinity jet, which I thought I invented, and later on I found out there was another person that invented it, and it was called the couple jet from a Gould diver. And anyway, this device is an old miner's trick. You measure down, I think it's 4 inches, to look at that gauge to the left, and you just touch the edge of the water. You measure the distance at the end of the nozzle, and you go to a table, and you look up and tell you exactly the gallons per minute. An old miner's measurement. Oops, forgot to turn it on. This is the same thing, a little farther away, showing you the scale in the tank that I was working in. It's Joe Long again. I believe that's that same hole we're working up there towards Happy Camp, and now we've got the hole really deep, and he's actually standing on a shelf next to the hole because we had the hole so deep we couldn't actually get in it. We didn't have any breathing equipment at that time. Well, this is another picture. That's a picture to the left of my Infinity Jet, right behind my Blazer. And you can see my test setup there. It was quite a bunch of junk set up just to do it, but I gained a lot of valuable information. I spent a couple months doing this testing. Another picture of the Infinity Jet and the gallons per minute test I was doing it. I measured pressure, vacuum, gallons per minute, and drew up a bunch of different graphs. And I wrote an article on it called New Life for the Suction Nozzle, and also Ventura Jet Analysis, which is on my website, www.gouldeng.com. This is a picture of Jack St. Denis, and he's feeding the Gould gravity trap river box. It just lays into the river. The water runs through it, but it has my little trick grizzly on top, and he's shoveling it into that grizzly.